Hello, so we have more tips cooking for you. These are very easy to implement and it will help you get stronger much faster. It's also kind of a shortcut to finishing a lot of the areas much faster without dying. Especially good for players who are playing alone. Now I'll just mention some of them and some of them will be more explicit. Some of them I'll actually show you what to do and very much expand on the topic. Other ones will be just very easy. Now let's begin. Tip number 1. You know how in Remnant you had a 1 hour boss? Well, they're back, but you can only equip one.
Welcome back. Stew?
Keep in mind that in my other videos I said that it's very important to not spend a lot of scrap because the economy is very tight in this one, but you know what? You will probably want to play with this one. This is the passive healing. Remember in Remnant once you got it from Yesha, the last planet in the campaign. So just buying this will give you so much more survivability and it will allow you to finish dungeons. I mean, if you're in trouble in a dungeon, just hide behind the corner and wait until you are fully healed. It can also help you with boss fights that have different phases. I mean, just standing still for 10 seconds will give you a little more HP. Some fights can last 5 minutes. Or if you're fighting an elite or you generally lost too much HP and you have to heal passive, you have to heal with a dragon heart, yeah.
Come round again sometime here.
In the beginning of the game is very rough, so that will help you survive a lot more, explore a lot faster, even finish dungeon a lot faster, because sometimes you'll be stuck with no HP, no dragon hearts in the middle of the dungeon. That will help you. Tip number 2.
Hey there.
In Remnant 1 we had a ring, the cat ring, the cat band, or whatever it was called. Here you can buy it from Reggie. That is a massive boost to survivability, the black cat band. As you can see, when you take fatal damage, instead of dying, you have 1 health. And movement speed is increased by 20%, which will allow you to run away and heal, or just run away. Depends on where you are. 2-minute cooldown. Now this is also very important because sometimes you'll be running around in a dungeon or a very big place. For example, you just want to run to the end of the dungeon. You run, you get a killing blow. Instead you have 1% 1 HP. So it just runs a little more around the corner here and then continue. It's super useful, it can be used in so many different ways. I like it, and because you have 4 ring slots, this is almost unnoticeable, and you can also sometimes use it even 2 or 3 times in a boss battle because you'll simply not die. If you pair it with the challenger's ability to resurrect or the dog handler's ability to get resurrected by the dog, it's so much more it's so much harder to kill the character if you have a few things. Tip number 3. The armor management. Well, this is a thing that is sadly a little bit controversial because I bought the ultimate version, so that means I got a few armor sets for free. Now, your weight should always be medium. Medium weight means normal dodge, means 25% stamina cost penalty. So I can dodge like this, but I also have a lot of armor, 94 armor. Increased damage reduction by 32%, which is huge if you think about it. Now, there's no point in increasing your armor beyond this threshold, because you also need some resistances. So based on what planet you are playing, you might need electric resistance or bleed resistance and so on. So kind of tailor your armor since you can wear any item from any set, to give you the best protection while keeping your weight under certain numbers. You can have the normal dodges, but also to have enough armor to have a huge amount of damage the reduction. I mean, as you can see, the first 3 tips will allow you to survive every fight a lot better, and I didn't even add what archetype you're playing, which might also have more survivability. Okay, tip number 4. Number 4 is pretty easy and straightforward. Get the SMG, the MP60. It's the easiest thing to get. So to get it, I'll just quickly mention it. Inspect over here, you have a code on the back. Go to Ford's room, and there you have a chest. And in that chest you'll have a key. Yeah, it's over here, up there. And with that key you just have to go to the north side of the map over here, and there will be the SMG. Now you can only do this after you have finished the prologue, which means you enter the world stone and you see what planet you are. Go back straight away, go and get the SMG. The SMG is an amazing weapon. It's probably one of the best in the game, especially for secondary weapon, because it fills up your skill very fast, because it does a lot of damage. It has a lot of bullets in the magazine, plus it's pretty useful. The range is good, you can kill a few weak enemies with that. It's just all around good. Tip number 5. Scrap shot is very good on playing alone. It will slow down the enemy, but also it will slow down their attack animation. And, well, I guess you probably figured this out. And it has 2 charges. I think the developer should think about putting this in the information tab as well. It should say over here. It should say over here max charges 2. So what does this one? So for example, let's say you're in a dungeon and you're being chased by an elite or something big. You just put 1 into over there and you run around the corner. And then you here look at the huge. This is huge. That area will slow down the enemy, but also it will slow down their attack animations. And 10 seconds is enough for you to heal, to reload your gun. Maybe switch to this and use the other skills. Just gives you a lot of time to prepare for the fight or even kill it, because some of the enemies will have weak points, and if they just sit there very slow, you can kill them very fast. So yeah, scrap shot is probably the best skill to choose. Also, it helps a lot with everything, even some bosses. Tip number 6. When it comes to the trade points, I think this is a bit of a discussion as well. When you choose an archetype, you will get a few points by default. As you can see, I have gathered only 6 total trade points now. Don't invest your points into all of them. Don't dilute your perk points or trade points. In the first trailers, you had thresholds. So for example, at level 5 vigor, you would get more health than you usually get for one single level. So at level 5, you would get, I don't know, let's say 18 health instead of 15. At level 8, maybe you got 27 or 26 instead of 24. So the point is, if you have level 5 or if you have level 4, there's not much of a difference. So you might as well put all of your trade points into a single thing, which usually is this one, expertise. Having that skill cooldown is so good, because it will increase your DPS, your utility, and many other things. Now another problem is that if you play for about 8 hours, you might be able to get about 10 trade points, which is not a lot. So if you start putting, let's say, 10 trade points all of these, you basically get nothing, because 6% skill cooldown is nothing, 6% more mod power is nothing, 12 stamina is nothing, let's say 15 health is nothing. So might as well just put all of your trade points into a single trait. So when one of your traits is level 10, then you might as well invest in another one. And I kind of recommend you do it like this for the first 2 or 3 traits, and then just spend your points in vigor and endurance, or just more DPS if you like it, but don't dilute your trade points. And again, this is one of the best choices. Tip number 7. In the beginning of the game, I recommend you just find a good dungeon and farm the dungeon for about 2 or 3 hours. You can get to your archetype to level 10 by farming about 5 hours. So 5 hours of continuously killing stuff. Now this is super important, because what I saw is that in certain areas, especially in Neyreyan, you cannot really advance unless you have all of your archetype perks. So as you can see, every one of these will help you a little bit, but especially the first one, which gives me more fire rate, range damage, and crit chance based on my level. So yeah, I would recommend that you at least unlock all of your archetype perks before doing something really hard. So it might be the first dungeon you find on the planet. Just go over there, farm a lot, farm for 2 or 3 hours, at least unlock all of these. If not, even go up to level 6 or 7 or 8. It will make your game a lot easier, because that's how it's supposed to be played in a way. Because you have no other ways of becoming stronger. Especially with the Gunslinger. I think the Gunslinger shouldn't have been a reward, a pre-order reward, because he's too strong. I mean, look at this. If you do the math, having a few levels over here, so let's say level 7, I think I've played about 6 hours in the game. But I think it's about 5 hours, because I restarted once. 10% fire, let's say it's 10% damage. Let's say that's 20% range damage. Let's say that 5% is another 10% damage. So my character, just by being level 7, gets about 40% increase to his DPS. Let's just say like that, round it out and nothing more. So yeah, having just a few more levels can mean a lot more DPS. Not to mention the utility from this thing over here. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge getting all of your perks and also having a high archetype level. Tip number 8. Now, I think you should unlock your second archetype very fast, because, well, you'll max out the first archetype pretty fast, just because you'll kill a lot of things. Maybe in multiplayer is different, but now I feel like you're going to reach the max archetype level in about 6 hours or so, depending on difficulty and other factors. So you have to prepare for your second archetype. So you have chosen your first archetype. If you have the Gunslinger pre-order, choose that as your first one 100%, because it's much harder to unlock it by playing the game normally than the other ones. So anyway, the tip number 8 is mostly about getting your second archetype ready. And it's pretty easy to do because you just have to buy the items for the classes from these guys or from the medic. And I think the last one, okay, let me check. Let me tell you 100%. So the challenger archetype item is found at Reggie. The handler is from Mudtooth. The hunter is from Brabus. The medic is from Dog Nora. The medic will be behind the wallstone. And that's how you craft them. So yeah, remember, keep in mind that it will do about 2500 scrap to craft your secondary archetype. And you will unlock the secondary archetype, the secret ones, more or less secret because everyone knows, much later, when you finish the whole campaign almost, or when you get the gunslinger from Matu, but already have it. So definitely prepare for it or have enough scrap to buy it. We'll do that in a bit after we finish speaking about the tips, because you might, if this is level 10 already, you only use it to kill bosses, otherwise you'll switch them out so you can level up the other one as well. It's very hard to switch the archetypes. Tip number 9. Okay, so when first playing the campaign, each planet will have a simulacrum almost in the same spot. I think they'll always be in the second area, so in my case it's on Erud. So you pass the first area of the game, you do the dungeon, and then you go into the second area of the game, or the campaign, or the planet, and there, probably at the corner of the map, you'll find the simulacrum, which is true for Nerud, and I'll show you. The simulacrum will help you increase the damage of dragon hearts, so that's super helpful to know. So every planet has a guaranteed simulacrum that will be more or less in the same area. I'm not sure if this will change as you play the game more and more, but you need a lot of simulacrums, so knowing the relative position where it will be is very helpful. To get your gun to max level, you need simulacrum. To increase your dragon hearts, you need simulacrum, so it's a very important thing to know. I'll show you where it is on the route when we get it. In number 10. The economy is very rough, so choose your mutator very early for your build and save relic dust for it. I mean, you might find something better, but usually you don't find something better. So just better to be prepared from the beginning of the game. Mutators are usually held by mini-bosses, so it's not easy to find them or even to kill them. You get relic dust by playing the game normally. So as you can see, by playing about 6 hours I have only 20 relic dust, so it's very hard to craft that. Now, depending on your choice of class, you might want a certain one. Like I said, you might find a better one, but you probably want to craft one as well, because the relic dust is very important. I think I'll take this one just because of the bonuses to my damage. So, more range damage over 3 seconds, 10%. And at level 10, range critical hit chance is increased by 10%. I'm more interested in this one, because from what I can see, the level 10 one will be permanent. So basically this mutator will give you a flat 10% critical chance for ranged weapons, which is huge. It's hugely overpowered in my opinion, because with the gunslinger I'll basically have 25% crit chance with my weapon. So this is 10%. This is 5%, 15, and that will be 25. If it works like that, I think a 25% crit chance with the gunslinger or any class is going, well, I guess with the gunslinger only, is going to be a huge amount of damage. I cannot even believe how strong it can be sometimes. So yeah, choose from the beginning what mutator you want. You'll find someone, but I think most of the ones you'll find will be sadly for melee, or depends on the planet. Yeah, I mean, you can get lucky or not, so that's why I prefer not to get lucky. So I know what mutator I'll craft, and I know it since the beginning of the game, and after that I'll upgrade it until I have it at 10. Keep in mind, you'll also have to kill those specific mini bosses to get the corrupt aluminite crystal, otherwise you'll not be able to upgrade them, which is super annoying, because as you can see, this will cost you 1. I'm not sure if the cost increases over time, but I think they will increase as you level it up more and more. Okay, that's enough for now. So let's go and get that secondary archetype, or a basic archetype. I'm not sure how it works, if you can equip it right away or not, but like I said, it's just better to be prepared and don't think too much about it.
Again. Only the
So this is how it works. You buy the material.
I bet Wallace would like to see this.
Take care now, traveler.
Wallace. You hear that? Wallace. Let's go to Wallace. Well, I guess that will be also a problem, because some people might buy the items and not know what to do with them. And then you have to craft it, and that will also cost you some resources.
I knew you'd say that.
So what you can craft? One relic charge with the simulacrum, and that will also cost you scrap and luminite crystals. This is how you redistribute trade points, which is also pretty expensive. So as you can see, this will also be 1000. So yeah, 2500 in total, plus 10 luminite crystals.
Goodbye, traveler.
Huh? That's it? I guess having the dual archetype system requires you to finish a campaign or something with a planet. That doesn't really matter. So as you can see, this is damage. The enemy is within 10 meters. Damage bonus will taper off until to 20 meters. So that means if you are 50 meters away, you still get some of the bonus, which is still pretty good. Change the skill enemy within 10. Yeah, that's not so important. The stamina cost increase for each weight bracket is reduced by 50%, which is much better because you can run around and dodge a lot more. Stacks of bulwark. I think bulwark just means you get reduced damage. You get less damage to attack. Yeah, okay, so I really wanted to see this. So I guess it's tied to the campaign. You have to finish a certain something in the campaign in order to equip your dual archetype class system. I guess it's not such a big problem. The Challenger doesn't have a good trade point because you only get, I don't know, reduced armor and combat, which I think is useless. But at the same time, his skills will be a little better. Oh yeah. You can only select one. As you can see, you can only select one of the skills. Yeah, I think it will be a very strong combination Gunslinger with Challenger just because of the huge amount of damage you could do up close. Plus we have all of the defensive items you need. Now let's go and get that simulacrum on Nerud. So I just read a guide and it said it's on the second area of the map. At the edge of the map, and that's exactly what it was. I mean, there is still a little bit of variety in the map design, but this is the first area, this is the second area, and I think this is true for all regions except Yesha, where we have to do a puzzle in order to unlock probably the area where it is. So the first area is like this, and this is the dungeon that will allow you to enter it and exit on the other side. So you have to do a dungeon and a boss to go to the second area of the map. Well, let's go there. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it should be okay. Funny enough, the simulacrum will show up on the minimap as icon, but I think you have to be pretty close to it, and sometimes it will be underground or something like that. So yeah, it will also cost scrap. I didn't think about it, so you have to go back to Wallace and upgrade your heart charges. I guess it just means more farming. Hooray for more farming. Also explore more or less the same dungeons, so I think, yeah, you really have to farm a lot in this game. So as you can see, this is the map, the Timeless Horizon. This is the hatchery where we came from. So as you can see, you have to go all the way over there to the other side of the map, which is crazy. It's crazy, you have to basically explore the entire map and go on the other side to get to the simulacrum, but again, it's almost all the time there. At least for Neru. The other planets will have their own preset destiny. I don't know. Maybe it can appear in more places, but...
Come and get some.
Who wants some? Nobody wants some. The camera angles are worse than in the first game, sadly. I mean, it's also ball luck, as you can see this one.
And that's over.
Like I said, it can be also about luck. I mean, Nerud is one of the hardest planets to start the game on, but at the same time you also get that super cool skill for your weapons where you shoot the bugs. Plus the simulacrum is pretty easy to get because this area is actually easier than the first area, which is weird because this should be harder, but no, it's easier.
Okay, this is it.
It's easier to traverse, it's easier to fight on, it's so much better than the first area where everyone is flying and shooting at you. Plus the elites here are a little more manageable, well except for the one that, you know what I'm talking, it's a big ball of stuff. So again, just for the sake of being a complete guide, I'll show you again the road to Wallace so you can upgrade your heart. So having one more charge, so again, as you can see, most of the tips will be related to defensive stuff. So 1 hour passive healing buff, the cat ring, which is again going to help you survive one hit every 2 minutes, more armor, the scrap shot, the trade distribution, everything will just help you become much more durable in general. Plus, I mean, I didn't really check this, so let's see, the cooldown is 34.4, so I guess, yeah, I'm not sure at what point you began, maybe it was 40 or 50. The point is that you upgrade the expertise to the max, you'll be able to use that skill maybe 5 or 6 or 7 times during a boss fight. And as you can see, in this case, it just deletes the elites, which is one of the things you really want, not to fight the elites for a long time, because the more you fight them, the more HP you lose. I think just following these 10 simple tips will just improve all of your odds for surviving and winning.
Traveler.
So yeah, I need 500 more scrap and or more luminite crystals, which is a pretty huge thing to have. Anyway, I think the game is relatively fun, it's just that it has some problems, especially performance-wise, and yeah, I like the new materials, I like all of the new systems. This shouldn't have been a pre-order bonus, it's just too strong in my opinion, because without this class on veteran it would have been almost impossible to finish Nerud, or at least finish it in a timely manner. I can go there and just kill everything, you saw how easy it was for me. Anyway, see you next time, bye.